When we designed the stakeholder group, we did want to make sure it was going to be as accessible to people as possible, and that meant making kind of general decisions about how it was going to run, but also having conversations with people about what was going to be easier for them.
We were wanting to try and just sort of create a kind of level playing field where then people would feel able to talk openly and honestly about what their life experiences have been. And one of the things that we did right from the start was we didn't let anybody say anything about their background. We asked them to say their name, and we asked them to talk about something like, how was your journey to get here?
When I came to the Clarence Pierce building that we're in now, I was absolutely terrified. But I like that, sitting with people who I think know more than me. That way I can learn.
When someone is discussing the way he's seeing, I was learning. When we are brainstorming, my brain is active and I'm able to take the points that will help me in future as well.
So I came in at a perspective of, I'll just try and soak up as much of this as possible. I'll speak to other people about their experiences in their towns and villages, because we had them for all of Britain, sure.
We had a really good opportunity because it wasn't just patients. There was a GP, there was a service manager, and we were all learning from one another.
So it kind of done that for me and stopped me from becoming angry at Easterhouse Health Centre.
Whilst it's uncomfortable for me, it's not great to be a practitioner or a nurse because they're not able to fulfill and to be able to then carry out what they came into the profession to do.
We were talking about the doctor maybe sending emails to remind the people, ask their preference, what do they want most to be communicated. Also, if they can be like an independent bodies to check how people are missing their appointments and to help do the follow-ups.
The feedback that we got from our stakeholders was that it didn't account for one really specific thing, and it was how people understand themselves in relation to their health, but also understand themselves in relation to the services and the resources around them, the communities, families that they're in. The way we phrased it in the study is that sense that something is not for me. And I think what we've been able to provide is a window a little bit into that process.
Even getting down here, there's like a phenomenal amount of energy and issues that I have, and the team, having spent time speaking to me and looking at some of the things, they've put in so many adjustments, so many basically care, to the point that I could contribute. And I think much of that, if that could be replicated in terms of what we're going through in terms of the accessing services.
I think when you show that willingness to ask people about what it is that they need and then to put in place the kind of things that are going to help overcome those things, not only does it have the instrumental benefit, but it has a relational benefit as well. You actually demonstrate that you can be trusted to follow through, that you actually are caring about someone's input and facilitating that input and maximising that input.
When I came, I thought it was the possibility for change. I thought that we could have some sort of say in how that change was going to happen. I came here with that view. I've got something to say about this, let's do it.
I've worked in the NHS for 30 years now. I'm aware that you get successes with some things and then there's some setbacks, and so we've done all this work, we've done all this research effort, we've produced papers, we're going to be producing videos and things. We can't entirely predict where this is going to travel to, but we've, to the best of our ability, tried to represent people's views.
I have the view that what I says was took and shaped in such a way that it didn't sound like it was coming from me. The academics might not use that same language. It might look like something else, but basically it's what you said. And for me, my truth is the truth. Whether I know that's real or imagined, it's still my truth.
At its very core is a question about if anyone has the right to speak for somebody else and to take someone else's words, interpret them and kind of put them out there in the world. And I think if you start with that, it's really important. When I've worked on taking the stakeholder data, there is just such a vast amount, and every single time you cut it down, what you essentially do is you take people's actual words out of it and you summarise them. And I think something really important is lost in that a lot of the time. And I think when it comes to actually sharing the output, having people's words stand for themselves is really important. And ideally what we want to do is take the transcripts and make those transcripts of interviews, once they've been anonymised and once they've been kind of cross-checked, available.
I get the feeling that they didn't want it to be about individual stories either. They wanted to look at it as a whole. If you're going to come to me and ask me, I couldn't give you the view of my scheme. And academics have got a way of saying, right, okay, we'll use that, but we'll broaden that out and we'll take that as the census of that area.
I think understanding that it's all co-created is a big part of it, and actually putting that out there when you communicate it and saying, you know, this is the process that we went to get to this. We feel that it is a fairly good reflection of the world as we found it and as it's been communicated to us. And these are the steps that we've taken as researchers and as authors to gather the data, to manage the data, to interpret it.
After doing the Missingness stuff with the university, it became more holistic. It became more about looking at the bigger picture as opposed to only the experience that I had with missing appointments.
It made me feel more responsible, more accountable for others. Some of the aspects were so empowering. It took me out of my comfort zone, but it made me feel, right, okay, I wasn't alone.